Hello and welcome to the Potty Mouth Preacher. I am Lisa Czak, your host, healing women's minds, bodies, and souls one trigger at a time. On today's episode, we are talking about grooming. What is it? How to recognize it? What to do in this situation if you think you're being groomed. We're going to talk all things grooming. Stay tuned. Before we start, I just want to help you shift gears. So go ahead and close your eyes and give me 3 deep cleansing breaths in. Again. And I want you to pretend like your device has a trap door on the back of it, and you are going to release all of your roles and responsibilities that you're happy to play, but sometimes you just need a little you time. So releasing your roles and responsibilities as wife, mother, daughter, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, sister, sister-in-law, friend, employee, employer, any other roles and responsibilities that you want to leave on the outside of this device. And I know you got things weighing heavy on your heart. You're going to release those too. So any doubt, anxiety, fear, shame, anger, frustration, any thoughts that you know aren't serving you, leave those on the outside of this device. You're not going to need those in here. And give me another 3 deep cleansing breaths just to center and ground yourself for this experience. Again. And one last time. And then slowly open up your eyes and welcome back. We're moving on to celebrations. Those are those seemingly insignificant steps that you take along the way on your journey that you might miss if you're not paying attention. If you tend to lay your head on the pillow every night and beat yourself up for all the woulda, shoulda, couldas, right? This is your chance to remember every single day that you're taking steps that are evidence that you are being the woman that God created you to be, that you're thinking like her, you're acting like her, you're behaving like her. You are surrounding yourself with people that are aligned with God's will for you. So my celebration is that I'm going all out and I am now owning the part of my story that I did not want to own before. It was super easy for me to talk about. This is my book, Portal Tears, Drowning the Demons Beneath the Fat to Keep the Weight from Coming Back. You see this girl right here, right? That was me at 226 pounds. And I lost 80 pounds and started looking like this, right? That part of my story was really easy for me to own. Now, it wasn't always easy for me to own. I used to have a lot of shame about my weight, right? Got past that. So my story is really about how I got in the best shape of my life and then was groomed by a sex trafficker. It's the second part of that story that's interwoven in there that I have really been afraid, living in shame, living in fear to actually own and talk about. And now I'm doing a whole healing series and I am starting a whole new series on grooming, sex trafficking, sexual exploitation, because I know that I was spared for a reason, right? Yes, I was sexually exploited. Yes, I was groomed. I was also spared for a reason. And I feel God calling to me, and I am celebrating that I am being obedient to God's calling and saying, okay, yeah, even this, if this is hard, even if people do throw stones at me, I'm going to talk about it, and I am going to help prevent other women from being sex trafficked. I'm going to help prevent other women from being sexually exploited. I'm going to help prevent other women from being groomed in the way that I was. So that is my celebration, that I'm no longer hustling outside my story for my worth. I'm standing in my story and owning it. Let's go on to real talk. So, our topic today is about grooming, right? Grooming is very misunderstood. If you're in the narcissistic world, meaning you're not a narcissist, meaning that you've been a victim of narcissistic abuse. You're a survivor of narcissistic abuse, right? Narcissism is one of these words that's being thrown around a lot. It's good and bad. One of the hallmarks of someone who is a narcissistic person is that they groom you. So, sex traffickers, sexual predators, people who want to exploit you sexually are big time groomers. Whether that makes them a narcissist or not, I don't know. In my book, I talk a lot about how I was in this relationship. I thought I was having an affair. I was actually being groomed by a sex trafficker. And when I was in it, I didn't see it for what it was, though, right? I really did not see it as abuse. I did not see it as grooming. I didn't know. I just thought he was this guy who, came back from my childhood and really cared about me and put me up on this pedestal and just knew me better than anyone else knew me in my life. I thought that, he told me that no one else had ever known him this way before. I trusted him implicitly. He knew my entire family. He went to school. He was in the same grade as my brother. And I'd known him since I was a child. And so I trusted him. And he came back into my life at a point in my life where my marriage was crumbling, right? My husband had just lost his job, his company that he had. And if you've not read my book or my story, you should know that my husband and I went through 6 years of infertility treatments, which is a lot to become a mom, right? And so my husband always said, I promise, you can be a stay-at-home mom as long as you want to and until you're ready to go back. But then the mortgage business he was in imploded and he lost his company. And I went from being a stay-at-home mom to a working mom literally overnight. And so that was like a real hurt for me, right? That was just, it felt like a betrayal on his part. And so there was this crack, right? I had also just gotten into the best shape of my life, right? Look at the cover there, right? The before picture was the woman, the obese woman in the mirror, the after picture, right? So I was in the best shape of my life. However, I was still believing inside, still feeling, identifying more with my 226-pound person than I was a 150-pound person, right? So this guy came back from my childhood and we started talking again. And I already trusted him because I'd known him since childhood. Like I said, my family all knew him. And he just he knew the right things to say. Like he went very quickly though, right? It was like the very first time we reconnected, he starts talking about my smile and how he never forgot my smile and how he can't believe the financial mess I'm in and how can my husband do that to me? And he would never do that to me. And he would send me songs every morning. I had to get up I went from being a stay-at-home mom to a working mom. I was a fitness director at this gym and I had to be up. I got a job in a gym that I lost all my weight in. I had to be up at 3:30 in the morning, and he would do things like, oh, I can't believe that, your husband makes you get up that early, and I would never have my wife go through that. And he would send me songs and he would send me flowers. And it's like he filled in every single hole that was missing in my marriage. And he also knew every single hole that was inside of me personally that I still hadn't healed, right? All these wounds inside of me. And he was the salve for the wounds. That's what I would call him, right? Like I would think to myself, like, I feel like I'm still raw inside, and he was the salve for it. And when somebody is grooming you, they're grooming you with the intention of using you for something, right? And usually it's sexual, but it could be financial, it could be someplace to live. Like I have clients who, met a guy online very quickly. And suddenly, within, 3 months, this guy's moving in with them because he needs a place to live. And so they were being groomed for a place to live. Like I was being groomed for sexual exploitation. Again, I didn't know that though, right? And so he would just say the right things. Now, I get this question a lot. How do you know the difference between love bombing? Because that's what that is. Love bombing is when they move so fast, right? And it's almost like a drug. It's almost like you just feel obsessed with them. Like you can't wait to check your phone to see what they sent you. You can't wait, like you can't get enough of their words. It's like you're dehydrated and their words are quenching your thirst. Every single word they send you just quenches your thirst. But it moves very quickly, much more quick than in a normal relationship. So in a normal relationship, trust is built over time, right? It takes time to be able to know if you can trust someone. Like this person, he already had the trust thing covered because he's like, oh, I know her family. I went to high school with her. We even had a couple interactions in high school. That's in the book if you want to read more about that. And so it moves very quickly in the sense that you'll feel like, oh, he's my soulmate. And oh, nobody else has ever understood me like he understands me. Now how could you possibly know that after meeting someone for a day, right? How could you know that after being with someone over the course of a couple of weeks or a month? So they lavish you with attention. They put you up on a pedestal that you've never been put up on before. They want to text you constantly, like 24/7, like they can't get enough of you, right? And then what happens though is something will happen, and maybe you'll confront them or say no to something, or just something is very slight, right? And suddenly they turn from Jekyll, Jekyll and Hyde, right? It's like all of a sudden they went from, they had you on this pedestal and you were the best thing that ever happened to them. And then suddenly they're just like crazy cruel, like the most cruel anybody has ever treated you. Or they go silent. Maybe they give you the silent treatment, right? Drop in comments if you've ever had the silent treatment. Why does the silent treatment hurt? It hurts because the receptors in your brain don't know the difference between pain, emotional pain, and physical pain. So when you are in emotional pain, your brain perceives it as physical pain, which is why emotional pain hurts. Which is why when I do healings on women, the healing work that I do, it hurts. It hurts because your brain perceives it as pain. Pain is pain to your brain. Your brain does not know the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. So then maybe they go silent, right? Which is what this guy would do to me. This predator would do to me. He would just go silent. It was his favorite form of punishment. And the very first time he went silent, it got me very nervous, right? Oh my gosh, what's he doing? Is he coming back? Why hasn't he contacted me? What did I do? We start blaming ourselves. We start looking inside ourselves and saying, what did I do? It must be me. It gets you reeling in your head. Then they come back and they act like nothing ever happened. Like then he would come back and nothing ever happened. And he's testing. What they're doing is they're testing you to see how are you going to react. They want to know how much they can get away with, right? They want to know, okay, you know, what actually just happened here? Is she going to fight back? Is she going to ignore it? Because what you're doing is you're just so happy that he came back that you're not even focused on the fact that he was gone. You're just so happy he came back. But when he comes back, the attention is not as much as it was before. The time that he's spending with you is not as much as before. He's not quite as complimentary, right? He's digging at you. So maybe he's doing some passive aggressive or just outright aggressive, criticisms. Why are you wearing that dress? I don't know why women wear that dress. Like, I remember one time I was wearing a dress and it had the empire, what do they call it? Empire waistline. It comes above, like right below your boobs, right? And he looked at me and he said, I don't know why women wear that kind of waistline when it makes you look fat and pregnant. Well, he knew that I had body image issues because I had been overweight and just recently got in the best shape of my life. And so that would hit me hard, right? And he knew that. Like that was intentional. His intention was to make sure that he got me doubting myself, got me doubting my image, my self-worth. And so then they go dark again or they get verbally abusive, right? And it's very insidious and it happens over time. It takes time to groom someone. It takes time because they need to keep testing you, right? And each time they leave and then come back, you accept less, right? You're accepting crumbs because you're holding on to the hope that it's going to be like it was in the initial love bombing stage where, you were put up on that pedestal and they understood you more than anyone else did in your entire life. And, you're doted on and you're lavished with time and attention and gifts and whatever else your love language is, right? My love language is obviously words of affirmation, as you can see by my backdrop here. And just by my business that I run a whole business on affirmations, right? I am. So, and then until it gets to a point where they try to get you to do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. That's also part of the grooming process. That's the main thing. The main reason for the grooming process is to get you to expand your boundaries, not just cross your boundaries, but to get you to willingly expand your boundaries so that they can then say you are a willing participant. This was consensual, right? You chose to do this. And then you get to beat yourself up, live in shame and silence, and never actually, confront them on what they're doing. Or you stay stuck in that, right? They have a hold on you. When these predators groom us, they don't have us in chains, right? We're not chained. We're not in a prison. The prison exists in our mind and our hearts because they've got us some way, right? Because they have gotten you to expand your boundaries in some way and then point the finger at you and say, oh, you are a willing participant. And they get you to gradually expand your boundaries until you don't have any boundaries left. That's what happens. And then you're going, what happened to me? Then you're losing yourself and saying, what just happened to me? How did this happen? And the important thing to know about grooming and abuse, right? Abuse of any kind. Grooming. Without grooming, there can be no abuse. Grooming is the gateway to abuse. That's what happened to me, right? If he wasn't successful at grooming me, there never would have been any abuse. There never would have been any sexual exploitation. None of that would have happened if he wasn't successful in the grooming stage. So I really want you to grasp that grooming is the gateway to abuse. And they have found this to be true in all kinds of Jeffrey Epstein, he had that whole island and everything. I think I'm going to have one of his first victims on actually. And she was saying the same thing, right? That it was a grooming process that happened because none of us would willingly walk into, like, if I knew he was a sexual predator, I wouldn't willingly have talked to him even, right? I wouldn't have reconnected with him, right? If he had that stamped on his forehead, but they don't. They are charming. They look like nice guys. Like this guy was an executive producer for true crime shows, and he was a known women's advocate, right? He advocated for women victims. And yet here he was victimizing not just me, but several other women that I went to high school with. Now, why did he choose women that we went to high school with? Because they were easy targets in the sense that they already trusted him. Trust was built in. He did not have to work for the trust. The trust was already there, right? So we were like super easy victims for him to prey upon. And if you can remember this in your brain, like, okay, when you're in it, like I said, when I was in it, nobody could have told me, right? You're being groomed by a sex trafficker. This guy is a sexual predator and he's grooming you to sexually exploit you. I would have said, you're crazy. You're fucking crazy, right? You don't believe it because love bombing feels so good. Grooming feels good. It feels amazing. Grooming and love bombing are the same thing. They're interchangeable. It feels amazing. Tell me any woman who wouldn't want to be doted on and lavished with attention, time, desire, right? We all have this natural inclination to want to be desired, right? Who doesn't want that? So this is why you got to know the red flags, like the moving too fast. If it feels too good to be true, that's a problem. If it feels like I've known this guy forever and he knows me so well and it's been 2 weeks, that's a problem. That's a sign, right? If you feel yourself doing things that you're like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right, right? Like, why am I doing this? This doesn't feel right. He is expanding your boundaries. He's getting you to expand your boundaries. If you say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to be physical with this person, right? I'm not going to do anything with this person. Like I didn't set out and say, hey, I want to have an affair. That's not where my head was at all, even though my marriage was crumbling, right? And I didn't even really know what it was, to be quite honest, because it's not like we were physical. It's not like it was an emotional affair. That's what I was thinking in my head. Like, is this an emotional affair? But yet he was doing things along the way that seemed like a nice guy, right? He'd say things like the very first clue I had, and even back then I knew it wasn't, I said, something's off with this. This is in the book also, Portal Tears, is when he said, hey, look, I'm married and I don't have a perfect marriage, but I'm not available for you. I really wish I was, but I want to set you up with men in Phoenix and I'll vet the men and you can go on dates. I'll make sure that they take you to nice restaurants. I'll pick out the restaurant and I'll vet the guy first to make sure he's safe, and sex is optional. Just so you see that you have other choices out there besides Denny, because I know you deserve better. I want you to have better. I want you to be happy, Lise, right? That's what I heard. That was my very first, like, what the fuck? And it's in the book. It's in Portal Tears. You have to read these chapters. Then even said to him, you're whoring me out? Now, mind you, before this, right, there was a lot of grooming that went on. I'm a nice guy. I just want to see you happy. He's not treating you the way you deserve to be treated. You have all these financial issues going on. You deserve a man that has money, right? There was a lot of grooming going on. That's what I was saying initially. I was like, this doesn't feel like an affair because this feels like he is actually being a good guy. He's being a friend to me, right? He's being somebody who cares about me. And I always said he reminded me of my big brother. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something like a big brother would do. He would set you up with guys, like dates, right? Not knowing that he was actually trying to prostitute me out. Like I didn't see that back then. I said you're whoring me out, and God spared me. I did not go. I did not go on any of these dates that he wanted to set me up on. He was irate about it. He went silent and dark, and he berated me for it. He demeaned me for it, said I deserved then to stay with Denny because I don't even want to, see what else is out there. Now, and I didn't even know about sex trafficking then. Like I didn't know what sex trafficking was. I thought it was something that happened in other countries. I thought it was the white van where women are getting pulled into a white van and being abducted. I had no idea. I didn't know the stuff that I know now about sex trafficking. And looking back on it, I see now even when I wrote the book, I didn't know that when I wrote the book, right? I feel like I need to have a follow up to that book because of everything that I've learned since then. So he was absolutely going under the guise of I'm being a nice guy. I want you to be happy. I want you to meet somebody who, has money and has stability and security, and you could be the stay-at-home mom that you want to be. But really, if I had gone, I know, I'm 100% sure, if I had gone to Phoenix and had dinner with any of these guys, I either would have been taken, I would have been moved, right? Sex trafficked. I would have been like forced to do some kind of porn. That's what they do also. They force you to do like porn videos. That's part of sex trafficking. Or I would have had sex with him and with a guy, whoever this was that he, forced to have sex with him. And I'm sure that he was going to get paid by these men, right? The holidays are right around the corner, and they can be an emotional landmine for many people. So if you want to heal all your shit now, so when you go into the holidays, you can be prepared for those emotional landmines and not get tripped up by them, book a free Heal Your Shit Now session with me. In this powerful one-on-one session, you will become crystal clear on what triggers you during the holidays around your family, what emotional landmines you have out there, and living your life going into the holiday season trigger free. You will uncover all the ways you might be sabotaging yourself. And lastly, you're going to leave this session feeling renewed and inspired and excited about the holidays instead of dreading them. Click the link below. I have limited spots left. So I'm only offering 3 free sessions, and this is the only time of year that I offer this. So happy holidays to you, and I'll see you in our free session. So this is the beginning. I got to stop now because I could keep going on about this forever. I'm going to start speaking out more and more about my story, my experience, and what I have learned even since I wrote that book. And I want to say that there is a population out there that is not being talked about, and it's because women are living in shame, they're living in fear, and they're staying silent on purpose. And even in the sex trafficking world, I have not heard people in the sex trafficking world talking about a very vulnerable population of women that are very vulnerable to being sex trafficked. And that's women like me who are very unhappy in their marriage, right? And I mean unhappy in the sense that like maybe they're being abused in some way. Maybe, it's like me, like something very, like they see it, like there's some kind of betrayal in their marriage that they see. Or, It could be a woman that is just like not being treated right in her marriage, right? Just super unhappy and vulnerable. And sex, that is a great population for sex traffickers to target. Why is that? Because they're married. They're going to stay shut. They want them to shut the fuck up. They don't want these women to talk. Like in my case, he'd say to me, "You're a willing participant. You're not going to say anything because Denny's going to leave you. Your daughter's going to disown you. You're going to kill your mom. You're going to bring shame to your family. Your clients are going to leave you." So, if you are in an unhappy marriage, if you are not being treated right in your marriage, if you are being abused in any way in your marriage, if there's betrayal in your marriage in any way, please be careful. This is me. I don't want to be the poster child for sex trafficking. I don't. And I fought God on this just like I fought him on writing that damn book. I didn't want to write that book. I didn't want my story to be out there. And yet here I am, right? So I'm going to start speaking out. And I'm speaking to you, the woman out there who's miserable in her marriage, whose marriage is crumbling, whose marriage is just about to just dissolve, right? You think that there's no hope left. And also, you've got inner wounds and trauma inside of you. It's the perfect storm, right? Like me, I had lost all that weight, got in the best shape of my life, but I still had cracks in my spiritual foundation. I still had unhealed wounds. And this sex trafficker knew exactly where to go. He knew exactly the holes to fill. He knew the wounds that needed salve placed on them. And he knew how to do it in a very manipulative, coercive, dangerous way. So if this describes you out there, you married women, I'm talking to you. And I know at least 7 or 8 women that I went to high school with who experienced the same abuse from the same person. I want you to contact me. I want to start a group for us. I want to start a group of married women I know you're out there. I know I'm not the only married woman who thought she was having some kind of weird affair, didn't really understand what was going on, and ended up, she was groomed for sex trafficking, groomed for sexual exploitation. If this describes you, you might not want to drop in comments. You could drop in comments if you want to. You can message me, just contact me some way because I'm speaking directly to you to save your life. Maybe you're in it now. Maybe you're a married woman who is reconnecting with some guy or just some guy you met, right? He's a really nice guy. I think I should leave my husband for him, right? If this is you, if you are with some guy and you think, oh my gosh, or he's got a hold on you in some way, right? I'm going to tell your husband. Maybe you sent him a video. Maybe you sent him pictures and he's holding that over your head. Please contact me and we are going to start healing. If this describes you in the past, in the present, if you think in your head even, oh, that's the direction I'm heading in, please contact me so we can heal you. Heal those wounds inside. If you heal the wounds inside, you're not susceptible to grooming. Because remember, no grooming, no abuse. This is just the beginning of what I'm going to be talking about. So your soul work is to, number one, just have that on your radar, right? No grooming, no abuse. Just shutting the door on grooming. Not letting it happen. Not today, bitches. No. Anyway, remember, no matter what, okay? No matter what you have done or haven't done, no matter what someone is trying to hold over your head, no matter what tapes they've put in your head, no matter how they've manipulated you, coerced you, I want you to remember always to believe God. And what does God want you to believe? God wants you to believe you are worth it.